G'day viewers, my name's Graham Stevenson and I'd like to invite you to come on a journey of creativity and learning and adventure through the series Colour in Your Life. There's an artist in every family throughout the world, and lots of times there's an artist deep down inside all of us as well. So grab your kids, your brothers, your sisters, your aunties, uncles and mums and dads and come and see how some of the best artists in Australia do what they do. Well, hi viewers and welcome back to Colour in Your Life. Well, we are in a little town called Lismore in northern New South Wales. It's a fantastic little town, this area. And we are at the local frame shop and gallery shop called Armistead's Framing. And I'm with a lovely lady today, Rhonda Armistead. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, Graham.
Lovely to be here. Now, Rhonda's got a very interesting history. I mean, your mum and dad had a big influence in the fact that you wanted to become an artist. Yeah. But in Lismore itself, it's something that you've always wanted to do. I mean, you opened up the frame store about 15 years ago with your partner Derek, and art has always been foremost in your mind. And you ended up going back to TAFE and doing a couple of courses back there as well. So tell me a little bit about your journey to get to where you are right now.
The beginning of the journey was my mum used to sketch, and she did lots of little sketches of my dad, and he always kept a sketch that my mum did in his wallet, and I guess that really interested me in arts. And I really wanted to go to art school, but when I left school, I ended up going to secretarial college as all the girls did back then.
Yeah.
But as my kids grew up, I found that I wanted to do art, so I enrolled in the local TAFE, and I was living an hour and a half out of town, so it was quite a mission to come in to TAFE, but I loved it. I just loved it. I did 3 years, and in my last year of printmaking, we opened up this shop.
Fantastic.
And we've been here for 15 years.
But you also teach, so she's one of the foremost teachers in the area. But another thing that I noticed about your work is you did a lot of lino cuts as well. You've done some beautiful lino cut work. Today, obviously, we're going to be doing a painting with you, but you're very versatile in what you do as well.
I like to have a go at everything, and Colour in Your Life's my inspiration. I watch the show and I see different artists doing amazing things and think, I want to have a go at that. So I'm really lucky to have this place in this studio, so I can come down and I've got all the equipment I need and I just have a go.
Yeah, that's funny. So, I mean, Rhonda, you've been a fan from the beginning, I suppose, haven't you?
First one.
Now she's on this show, which is great. But the picture that we're doing today is actually a series, or it's a competition that you actually set up with people on your Facebook page to take a photo. Yep. And then just tell me a bit more about that. How did that come about?
Okay, so I was looking for inspiration for something to do for the show, and it's always been a priority for me to get people who are not quite interested in the arts and going to galleries, to get them engaged in the arts world.
Yes.
So I ran a competition on my Facebook page and said, submit your favourite landscape painting, and I got over 50 entries. And I chose one, and the one I chose, I think, tells a beautiful story of a woman and her grandchildren.
That's fantastic. And the lady actually gets the painting, is that correct?
She gets to keep the painting.
That's pretty cool. It's a great idea too, absolutely. So, all right, well, we're going to go into Rhonda's studio, which is at the back of the store, and we're going to start on this wonderful piece of work. It's a lovely, lovely scene that you're going to see, and we'll work with that for you for the rest of the day.
Okay.
Let's go.
Let's go.
Okay, Rhonda, well I can see that you've actually got the photo up that the lady took and sent in to you.
Yes.
It's a great little picture too. It's one of those shots that you sort of really reminisce about, you know, olden days. But how do you actually start the piece from here?
Well, first I got the picture, and I decided that I wanted to give these trees a little more feeling of grandeur. So you can see that I've just cropped that down a little bit to get it into this format. So I've taken that format and made my canvas at the same ratio.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just going to start by blocking in some white at the top.
I suppose the beauty about having your own frame shop and gallery is that you've got all of this stuff on hand, so you can make the size of canvas that you want.
That's very true. I'm a bit spoiled.
That's fantastic.
So I tend to be a bit messy, so we're going to get paint all over the backing board and all over everywhere, but the main purpose here is to just get the paint on and covering this surface. What I'm going to do is build some colour into the white, but I want to keep this mistiness in the background here.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll build colour into the white. I don't want the colour to be too strong, so I put the white down first, and then I can use a slightly stronger colour but blend it into the white in the places that I want it to be a bit mistier. I could actually swap to a slightly bigger brush for this, I think, just to get it moving.
So you're just dipping that into terps or into linseed oil as well?
I've actually got a medium mixed up, and I mix my own mediums, and the medium is just 2 parts gum terps to 1 part linseed oil.
But you do have a love of the landscape and nature as well. But you've done some, the Lino cut series on vanishing species, I think is just fantastic. And the reason that you made them look like they're difficult to see, but you can see them, is that that's what's happening to them.
That's right. We do have vanishing species, and that's an unfortunate part as we get a more urban society. So now I'm going to put these distant trees in here with the same colour as I put in the sky, just to keep that nice misty look.
Mm-hmm.
I'll just kind of roughly get some shape in here, coming up into here, and now I can just roughly put it in. I'm not trying to paint a tree or every leaf or anything. All I'm trying to do is get some colour moving down through here.
Just an impression?
Just an impression. I'm using quite a big brush.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not after detail at the moment. I'm not chasing detail, I'm just chasing some form. Don't forget your edges. If you're not framing it, do your edges.
It's always a tough one. I can't get to the edges. I just don't do edges.
I know.
I can't do it.
A lot of people don't. But look, I tell you what, it's a real eye-opener as an artist to be a framer as well, because there's so many things that people don't think about. And what I always tell my students is start well, but imagine the finished piece. Imagine what you want it to look like when it's finished.
The lady that you did a portrait of in this area that Philip Bacon actually bought, he's one of the leading art gallery directors in Australia, and it was of a picture of Clare Twomey.
It was indeed my good friend Clare, who is the founder of the Knitting Nanas, which is now a global organisation.
Yeah, how's that?
They just started locally here to protest about the coal seam gas. We actually don't have coal seam gas in the Northern Rivers, thanks to a lot of people, but partly the Knitting Nanas, and she's a very brave and inspiring person, so she was my pick when came time to do the portrait prize, and I was delighted to have Philip Bacon feel that the work was so significant and historical to the area that he purchased it, and it now lives in a permanent collection in the Lismore Regional Gallery.
Yeah, it's a great piece. It's actually titled "Can't Eat Coal, Can't Drink Gas."
That's right.
Which is great, isn't it? And it's still in relationship to what Claire's doing, is that you painted a picture of your gorgeous little grandson, Jesse, and it's an analogy of keeping water clean for our children and the next generations.
Well, yeah, that's right. At the time there was a big debate going on, not only about the coal seam gas, but the fluoridation in the water.
Mm-hmm.
I felt it was an important issue. What people don't realise is 2% of all the water on our planet is for agriculture and drinking. It's It's not an unlimited resource.
No, not at all. In fact, it'll be worth a hell of a lot more than coal and fuel one day.
Well, that's right.
Which it is now.
That's right, and I think, you know, having grandchildren and worrying about their future and wondering what the world's going to be like for them, I think it's important to protect all our natural resources. I've put some greens in here and a little bit of purple to keep that nice gentle shadow in there. And now just add a little bit more detail over the top of that, just to get a little bit of that leaf form happening in through there. So I blended that into the background because it went on quite strongly, but now it's quite a bit looser. And if it's too strong, here's the thing, don't ever be worried about making a mistake, because you can always blend it in and put something else over the top.
I think that's one of the big factors that colour in your life has been able to change for a lot of people across the world, is that fear factor.
Yeah.
And watching you guys work, it's like, okay, well, she said it was okay, I'm just going to go ahead and do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is important.
And sometimes you can get the best results by putting the paint on, making a complete mess of it, and then scraping it off. And when you scrape it off, it's like, that's exactly what I made it to be like.
Happy mistake.
Yeah. I'm all for the happy accident.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's quite strong, but that's okay, because I'm going to push those little bits into the surface. Just disturb it. My teacher used to call it, when I studied at TAFE, disturb your paint. He used to say to me all the time. It just kind of brings things together so it's not floating around on the top. So we've got that background painted in roughly, so now I'm just going to underpaint this area in here. I mean, I'm going to use a fair bit of medium in this because I just want it to be quite light. Don't forget your sides. I'll just use some medium to push that around. So I just want some colour there at the moment, and if you use a little bit of medium in your paint and push that colour around, then you get a nice layer of oil that you can work into later too. So this is going to be a bit of a hill coming down here. So we'll just get that on there. Oops, too much, doesn't matter. Put some medium in. I don't have to pick up any more paint then. And I'll get some in on the other side. Don't forget your edges. I might just use a bit of burnt umber and purple for this and leave the sienna out. And again, I'm going to do this as a wash. Don't have to be picky about this bit either, because we're going to do some fun stuff over the top of this later. Still using a fair bit of medium. Get that moved around. Over here, we'll just go around our figures, just roughly. You can always put that detail back in later. The main thing is not to panic, you know, there's nothing that you can do that's wrong, really. The main thing is get the paint on there, get it moving. Once it's on there, then you can make the adjustments. If you worry too much about you being perfect, you're going to be disappointed a lot. And this is what I tell my students quite often. Not every painting you ever make is going to be a masterpiece. You're going to have some failures, and you're going to have some things that don't work, and there's going to be things that you look back on that you don't even like. But that's okay, because it's all part of that journey. It's all part of the learning process. The main thing is to have fun while you're painting, because if you don't have fun, you'll give up, and that would be a tragedy, because it's a wonderful thing to be able to do. So I'm just scrubbing away, getting that base coat on with our lovely layer of oil in it. This looks a little bit strong, but I'm going to use this layer of oil to get some more colours in there. It certainly makes those little figures in the middle
sort of stand out
jump
a bit.
out.
Yeah, absolutely.
that's my potential for later. That's the bit, it's always that primary focus of the painting that you get so excited to paint. And a lot of times it's the last thing. There's an awful lot of getting to it before you get to do the good stuff, the fun stuff at the end. It's better to go over the edge of your drawing a little bit than to leave it, because it looks patchy later. You can always redraw that line, that's fine. So, the fun stuff. I'm just going to get a fan brush and some of that light colour, and I'm going to flick it. Lots of dots, lots and lots and lots of dots.
You've actually got paint on the palette knife as well. So
no, that's just kind of dragging off.
Oh, does it?
Off there. But we just put it on and rub it in.
And really you're just making the texture of the leaves and the gravel and the ground. And
yeah, that's exactly right. I just found it's a really quick way to get some texture into the paint. And it's a really nice finish too. You get a little bit of light and shade. So as much as you put the light dots in there, you can also put the dark ones in. So with a bit of burnt umber and the purple mixed together, because that's our shadow colour, and that'll almost give us like a shadowy effect, and we can use those blobs later. I just like to put down lots and lots of layers.
Now, part of living in this area, the northern rivers, there's a lot of waterfall areas, and you've actually done a series of 7 of the well-known waterfalls that are up in this area as well.
That's right.
So I thought just beautiful pieces, and one was Protesters Falls, and then obviously up where I am a little bit further there's the Natural Arch Bridge, when you've painted that as well with those luminescent blues and greens. It's really pretty.
Beautiful, that was. I won the fellowship for biodiversity through Caldera Arts. That was what I decided to paint there.
Nice, well done, very well done.
There's a lot of bushwalking.
A lot of bushwalking.
A lot of bushwalking. But we got to see some beautiful places, and it made me really appreciate what we have here.
Yeah, it's just a beautifully diverse area. Now, as I was saying beforehand, you're actually quite diverse in a lot of the images that you do produce, and there was one picture I saw of a wave which looks fantastic. It's called the Barrell.
We were talking before about how I get inspired by colour in your life. I watched Lisa O'Brien paint her wave and thought, I'm going to have a go at the wave as well.
Now, one of the pictures that you've done that is really popular in print, you sell a lot of the limited editions of it, is the one right over your right shoulder, the Gouldian finches. Those little guys are native to Australia up in the Northern Territory, and they're that bright colours, aren't they?
They are.
Yeah.
Okay, this is where I like to get the photo in my hand. It gets down to tin tacks. Just going to put a really light blue in here. Just get that basically in there. Okay, we're going to just lighten this little guy up here now. Down the edge of his shirt there.
That was a great idea that you had about putting the competition together, mainly because it really gets people involved in photography and the arts.
Yeah.
Everybody sort of has a chance to be part of somebody else's ability as well, which is pretty well what Colour in Your Life's about.
Yeah, that's right, and it gets people engaged in the arts. Yeah, I'd like to inspire people to go to their local gallery or community gallery or their local artist studio and take a photo along, take your favourite photo along and go and see and get a little quote, and you'll be really surprised. You can hang something that's personal to you, that you love, on your wall, and every day that you walk into your house and see that painting, it'll make you happy. You know, the old prints come and go, but to have something personal to you is really special.
Absolutely. Well said.
So there's our first little guy in. We'll give him some blue jeans. Again, I'll just underpaint that colour in. It's actually the back of his shoe coming there. I like these little brushes that come to the point, like the little Chinese calligraphy brushes, because you can do broad strokes, or you can use them as almost like a pencil. Okay, we'll just get that his sneakers in now. So the sneaker's just lifting up a little bit. And this one's right off the ground. Okay, we've got this coming up through here. This is actually a black jumper, but rather than use the black, I'm using Payne's grey.
Okay. So what made you pick this particular photo out of all the others that were there?
This one just seemed to have a nice little story about it. In all the photos that there were some fantastic landscapes and some things that I really probably will go on and paint further on down the track as my inspiration, but this one here, there was a connection with this. It tells a story. It's more than just trees and sky and grass. This for me is an emotional work because you're wondering what the little boys are talking about as they're walking down the country lane. What are they doing? What are they thinking? Are they walking in silence? It just allows the viewer to read a little story in for themselves. All right, well, we're just going to finish these little figures, and I think we're going to have a little red jumper on this fellow. These kids in the middle of the image, we want to make them the primary focus, and we want them to leap out at us. So
Pulls the audience in.
it certainly does. I'll add some shadows in so it's not really stark.
As I can see, you've just about finished that off, and that red and blue has really pulled that picture in. The focus is fantastic now, really well done. But because of the beauty of television, we can now screen the final piece that Rhonda's had a chance to work on. As you can see, marvellous piece of work. Rhonda, fantastic day.
Thank you very much, Graham. It's been a pleasure.
Okay guys, fantastic day. Rhonda, thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
It was wonderful, and an absolutely beautiful piece. I mean, there's a lot of nostalgia in a beautiful little painting like that. It was really well done. Now, you obviously teach here as well, but you've got the #1 frame shop in Lismore, probably in the Northern Rivers area. So if you guys want to get your frames done, you can come along to Armistead Framing. But your website, your personal website is?
RhondaArmistead.com.
Yeah, and if you want to do some lessons with Rhonda, please get in touch with her as well. She's a fun lady and does some really amazing stuff. Of course, you can always come and see us on YouTube. It's been fantastic, and thank you so much for all of the countries that are involved now. 64 countries coming in to see us, which is really great. And our Facebook page, and of course you can always come in and see us at our website, colorinyourlife.com.au. Lots of things happening in there. We're selling a ton of paintings in there these days too, guys, so make sure you put your stuff up on the website, because we've got people all over the world now coming in to talk to us about what you guys do. But had a great day. It's been absolutely fantastic. We're going to head off again, and remember, as we always say, make sure you put some colour in your life, and we'll see you next time, guys. Bye now. Bye.
Bye.